What if I told you there are people on this planet who can stay underwater without breathing for 13 full minutes? Jump 3 feet straight into the air without bending their arms, or run 100 miles barefoot across rugged terrain without stopping to rest. These are not characters from a fantasy novel, these are real tribes, living in some of the most isolated places on Earth. From hidden islands protected by fierce warriors to uncharted forests where ancient traditions seem to bend the very laws of nature, these communities push the boundaries of what we believe is possible. Intrigued? Stay with us, because their stories will challenge everything you thought you knew about human limits. Imagine a hidden island surrounded by turquoise waters, dense forests stretching endlessly, and a boundary no outsider dares to cross. This is North Sentinel Island, home to the world's most isolated tribe, the Sentinels. Fiercely independent and hostile to outsiders, they have resisted contact with the modern world for centuries. In the year 2018, American missionary John Allen Chau ignored all warnings and tried to reach them. Carrying gifts and a Bible, he stepped onto their shores. As his boat drifted away, fishermen reportedly saw him wading toward the beach only to be met by the tribe's deadly hostility. Hours later, his body lay on the sand, a chilling reminder of the island's unbroken isolation. But why such hostility? For the Sentinels, isolation is not just a way of life, it is survival. Foreign diseases could wipe them out, just as past colonial encounters nearly destroyed them. And yet, despite rejecting modernity, they thrive without electricity, medicine, or technology. Their traditions, passed down for thousands of years, remain untouched by the outside world. But rising curiosity threatens their fragile existence. North Sentinel's mystery remains, but what about tribes with customs so shocking they challenge our understanding of life? Eating beef or chicken is normal, but the type of meat consumed by the next tribe will make you question everything. Keep watching. Deep within the dense forests of Papua New Guinea, some tribes follow a tradition that many consider the ultimate taboo. Yet here, it is not about cruelty or survival, it is about honor. For these tribes, consuming the bodies of their loved ones is not an empty ritual. It is deeply rooted in their beliefs, as they see it as a way to keep the spirit of the deceased within the community. This act also ensures that scavengers and insects do not touch their loved ones, which is viewed as a disgrace. To outsiders, this practice may seem shocking, but to them, it is a sacred gesture of love and respect. In rare cases, modern science has highlighted the dangers of this ritual. Today, it has become far less common, yet it remains an integral part of their heritage and identity. What do you think about these ancient customs? Do they make you rethink life and culture? Share your thoughts in the comments below. How can someone leap nearly 3 feet straight into the air without using their arms for balance? For the Maasai people of Kenya and Tanzania, this is more than just a show of strength, it is a sacred tradition. Their legendary Adamu dance, where warriors jump in perfect unison, appears almost supernatural. Without modern training or equipment, how do they perform such gravity-defying leaps? The secret lies in a mix of culture, tradition, and extraordinary physical endurance. Picture a group of young Maasai men forming a semicircle, their tall, lean frames draped in bright red shukas. One by one, they step forward, their bare feet pressing into the earth. With a sudden burst of power, they launch straight up, as if lifted by an unseen force. Tourists attempting the Adamu quickly realize how difficult it truly is. One traveler, recalling his experience, admitted, "I thought I could outjump them, but after 3 tries, I could barely get off the ground. They just kept going effortlessly." For the Maasai, the Adamu is not just a dance, it is a test of endurance and strength. This ritual marks the transition from boyhood to warrior status. The higher a man can jump, the more admiration he earns from his peers, elders, and even potential wives. Even in today's world, the Maasai's athleticism continues to amaze. Joe Rogan, a well-known podcast host, has often marveled at their incredible jumping ability, questioning whether it comes from genetics, diet, or lifestyle. Their diet, rich in calcium from milk and natural foods, may play a key role. According to the World Health Organization, high calcium intake supports strong bone density, which could explain their remarkable resilience. Your turn. What do you think gives the Maasai their incredible jumping power? Is it their nutrition, their training, their culture, or a mix of everything? Drop a comment below with your thoughts. The Maasai's Adamu dance is an incredible display of strength and endurance, but what happens when survival demands something even more extraordinary? Deep within the Ituri forest of the Congo Basin lies a vast wilderness of towering trees and dense, unbroken greenery. Here, the Pygmies have flourished for thousands of years. Standing only 4 to 5 feet tall, their small stature gives them an advantage in navigating the thick underbrush. They are expert hunters, using bows and spears with unmatched accuracy, and foraging with an intimate knowledge of the land's hidden resources. Their bond with the forest is unlike any other. "When I walk through the trees, I feel their spirit," said one elder from the Indomitable tribe in an ethnographic study from the year 2023. "It is our home, our food, our life." But their existence has never been free from danger. Throughout history, the Pygmies have faced threats not only from modern expansion but also from rival tribes who saw them as nothing more than prey. Even today, their way of life hangs in the balance. A report from the United Nations in the year 2024 states that deforestation in the Congo Basin has wiped out over 20% of their ancestral lands in just 3 decades. Expanding farms and illegal logging pushed them deeper into shrinking forests, forcing them to fight for survival. Still, they refuse to let their culture fade. Local organizations and global aid groups are now working with them to defend their forests and secure land rights. These efforts bring hope, but the risk remains. If the forest vanishes, so does their heritage. One Pygmy woman voiced her fears in an interview from the year 2022. "The forest is where I teach my children. If it disappears, how will they know who they are?" If you've made it this far, we know you're enjoying the journey. Take just 5 seconds to subscribe and turn on notifications. There's so much more to explore. Up next, we dive into a community that has mastered survival in the deepest waters on Earth. Can you hold your breath for 13 minutes? The Bajau people can, and they do it without oxygen tanks or high-tech gear. Known as the sea nomads, their entire lives revolve around the ocean, and their ability to survive underwater seems almost superhuman. But is it? Is it? Scientists have uncovered something astonishing about the Bajau. They have naturally enlarged spleens that store oxygen-rich blood, giving them a major advantage when diving. This unique adaptation lets them stay underwater for minutes at a time while hunting fish or collecting shellfish. No professional training, no advanced equipment, just pure human evolution. In fact, Folklore, a study published in the year 2024 in Science Advances found that the Bajau's spleens are nearly 50% larger than normal, a genetic trait that has allowed them to thrive for generations in one of the most demanding environments on the planet. Imagine waking up in a floating village surrounded by endless blue waters. For the Bajau, this isn't a vacation, it is their way of life. They live on houseboats or wooden homes raised above the waves, rarely setting foot on land. Their food comes directly from the sea fish, squid, and sea cucumbers, all caught by hand during deep dives. Children learn to swim before they can even walk, and by adulthood, diving to depths of over 200 feet without oxygen becomes second nature. As one Bajau fisherman explained in an interview, "The ocean gives us everything we need. It is our home, our food, our life." Their remarkable skills have captured global attention. Free divers from around the world now study their techniques to enhance their own diving abilities. Yet, despite this admiration, the Bajau face growing challenges. Overfishing and climate change are threatening their ancient way of life, forcing some to settle on land and abandon their nomadic traditions. A report from the United Nations Food and Agriculture Organization in the year 2023 highlights that declining fish populations in Southeast Asia are hitting coastal communities like the Bajau, the artist. As their environment shifts, their centuries-old way of life hangs in uncertainty. The Bajau's connection to the ocean is truly remarkable, but they are not the only ones who have adapted to extreme environments. Next, we travel to the frozen tundras of Siberia to meet the Chukchi people, masters of survival in the harshest cold on Earth. Welcome to Siberia's Arctic tundra, a place where daylight is scarce for months and temperatures plummet to -50 degrees Celsius. Here, the cold is so brutal it can freeze exposed skin in seconds. Yet for centuries, the Chukchi people have not only survived but thrived, defying conditions most could not endure for a single day. Imagine living in a land where the wind never stops howling, and survival depends on your ability to withstand one of the most unforgiving climates on Earth. How do they do it? The Chukchi are no strangers to hardship. In the 1700s, the Russian Empire waged multiple campaigns to conquer them. Armed only with spears and bows, the Chukchi fought back relentlessly. After 4 decades of costly battles, the Russians finally gave up, recognizing the Chukchi's unbreakable will. This history is proof of their unshakable resilience. Even today, the Chukchi fiercely defend their traditions, refusing to let modernization erase their way of life. At the core of their survival is the reindeer, an animal that provides them with everything: food, clothing, and even shelter. Herding reindeer is more than a skill, it is a sacred tradition passed down for generations. Their spiritual beliefs are deeply tied to nature. The Chukchi believe that after death, their spirits travel to the polar star, making it a symbol of guidance and destiny. This reverence for the natural world is reflected in their rituals, songs, and storytelling, all of which preserve their cultural identity. One elder explained this bond: the tundra teaches patience. The reindeer teach respect. Without them, we are nothing. Yet new challenges threaten their way of life. Climate change is rapidly altering their frozen homeland, disrupting the delicate balance they depend on. According to a 2024 Arctic Council report, Siberia's permafrost is melting at an alarming rate, affecting reindeer migration and the land they rely on. Despite these hardships, the Chukchi remain steadfast, proving that even in a changing world, ancient traditions can still endure. Deep in the vast savannas of Tanzania, the Hadza people live in a way that seems frozen in time. As one of the last true hunter-gatherer societies on Earth, their survival depends on an unmatched understanding of nature. But what truly sets them apart is their extraordinary partnership with a bird one that guides them to hidden treasure. Imagine this: a Hadza hunter mimics the call of a bird. Moments later, the honey-guide bird answers and leads the way to a well-hidden beehive. The hunter gathers the precious honey, and in return, the bird feasts on the leftover wax and larvae. It's a rare example of cooperation between humans and wildlife, so fascinating that scientists have studied it for years. A 2023 study published in Nature Communications confirmed that the Hadza's bird calls greatly improve their chances of finding honey, a key energy source in their diet. This knowledge, passed down for generations, blends deep ecological wisdom with remarkable adaptability. But life for the Hadza is far from easy. Over the last century, their ancestral lands have been steadily shrinking. Once free to roam across East Africa's plains, they now inhabit only a fraction of their original homeland. According to a 2024 report by the United Nations Development Program, more than 75% of their land has been lost to farming, development, and conservation projects. As agriculture expands, the resources they rely on, wild game, edible plants, and honey, become scarcer. Modernization presents another challenge. Some Hadza have begun settling in villages, trading their bows for modern tools. Yet, with this shift comes the erosion of skills and traditions that have sustained them for thousands of years. One elder voiced his fears in an interview: if the young leave the bush, who will remember the old ways? Who will call the birds? His words reflect a deep concern: the struggle to balance tradition with an encroaching modern world. The Hadza now stand at a crossroads. Will they hold on to their hunter-gatherer heritage, or will they be forced to integrate into modern society? There is still hope. Groups like the Hadza Fund are working to secure land rights, allowing them to continue their ancient way of life. But as the world changes, their future remains uncertain. What would you do if your home was under attack, not by soldiers or invaders, but by machines ripping through the land? For the Huaorani people of Ecuador, this is not a distant threat, it is their daily reality. For centuries, these tribes have lived in harmony with the rainforest, depending on it for food, shelter, and spiritual meaning. But modernization is a double-edged sword. While it brings new conveniences, it also threatens to erase their traditions, their independence, and their deep bond with the land. The Huaorani have long resisted outside influence, choosing isolation to protect their way of life. In the year 1990, they achieved a historic victory, securing legal control over their territory. Yet in 2024, these rights are under growing pressure as global demand for resources intensifies. The Amazon rainforest, often called the lungs of the earth, is vanishing at an alarming rate. A 2024 report from the United Nations Environment Program states that deforestation in the Amazon has exceeded 1.5 million hectares per year, driven by logging, farming, and oil extraction. For the Huaorani, this crisis is about more than just trees, it is about survival. When oil companies push into their land, the damage is irreversible. The rivers are polluted, hunting grounds vanish, and entire communities are displaced. "Without the forest, we are nothing," said a Huaorani elder in a recent interview. "The trees are our food. The rivers are our life. If they die, so do we." This is not just their battle, it is ours too. The Amazon is not only home to these tribes, it is essential to the entire planet. Its trees absorb billions of tons of carbon dioxide, helping regulate the Earth's climate. If the rainforest disappears, so does one of our greatest natural defenses against climate change. The Huaorani people's deep bond with nature may seem extraordinary, but what happens when that connection steps into the realm of the supernatural? In the shadowy corners of Navajo legend, stories of skinwalkers emerge, beings believed to transform into animals at will. These shapeshifters, often feared as malevolent witches, are said to wear the skins of animals, taking on their speed, strength, and senses. The tales are shrouded in mystery and caution. According to tradition, encountering a skinwalker can bring misfortune or even harm. But for the Navajo, these aren't just old stories, they serve as warnings, being passed down to instill respect for the spiritual world and the fragile balance between nature and humanity. In South Africa, the Zulu people share stories of lightning catchers, individuals said to wield control over storms, redirecting lightning strikes with supernatural force. These storm masters are believed to protect their villages from destruction or summon rain in times of drought. Folklorists studying these legends point to their deep connection with the Zulus' respect for nature's power. While the stories may sound mythical, they reveal a culture's understanding of and reverence for the forces that shape their world. Farther north, among the Arctic Inuit, shamans are said to possess telepathic abilities, guiding hunters and offering protection from unseen dangers across vast frozen landscapes. Anthropologists researching Inuit traditions have found that these myths often reflect highly developed survival skills. The ability to predict storms, track game, or sense subtle environmental changes may have once been viewed as supernatural gifts. What makes these stories so fascinating is how they merge the mystical with the practical. They are more than just entertainment, they serve as moral lessons, cultural teachings, and explanations for life's mysteries. A 2024 study in the Journal of Folklore and Anthropology highlights the role of myths in shaping cultural identity. Across civilizations, these legends are not merely relics of the past, they continue to shape how people understand the world today. Legends of shapeshifters and supernatural beings stretch the limits of imagination, but some real-life feats of endurance prove that the human body is just as astonishing. Imagine running a marathon not once, not twice, but almost every day. Now picture doing it barefoot across rugged terrain. Could you keep up? The Tarahumara people of northern Mexico, also known as the Raramuri, have achieved near mythical status for their running abilities. Often called the running people, they cover ultra-long distances, sometimes exceeding 100 miles, with effortless grace. But what makes their endurance so remarkable? Forget high-tech running shoes or energy drinks. The Tarahumara rely on simple Huarakas sandals crafted from leather straps and recycled rubber. Their fuel? A diet rich in corn, beans, and chia seeds. Despite this minimalist approach, their stamina surpasses even many professional athletes. A 2024 study published in the Journal of Human Physiology found that the Tarahumara possess exceptional cardiovascular efficiency, allowing them to sustain prolonged physical exertion with minimal fatigue. Scientists credit this to their active lifestyle, efficient running mechanics, and cultural traditions deeply rooted in movement. But the Tarahumara aren't the only ones redefining human limits. In Ethiopia, young runners train altitudes above 8,000 feet, where oxygen levels are lower. This natural high-altitude conditioning, combined with a lifetime of physical activity, has produced some of the fastest long-distance runners in history. In the Himalayas, the Sherpa people display another form of extreme endurance. Carrying heavy loads across the world's highest peaks, Sherpas have evolved larger lungs and an increased red blood cell count, enabling them to thrive in thin mountain air where most would struggle to breathe. Could you outrun a Tarahumara on your best day? Could you carry a heavy pack like a Sherpa through the freezing Himalayan slopes? These stories remind us that endurance is more than just physical, it's a way of life shaped by culture, environment, and sheer necessity. If you enjoyed today's video, please hit the like button and don't forget to subscribe to the channel. Your support means a lot to us. Click on the video that appears on your screen right now. I'm sure you'll love this content. Comment below about the next country you want to see featured on our channel. Thank you so much for watching and see you in the next video. Thanks for joining us. Leave a comment, give it a like, and don't forget to subscribe for more interesting videos. See you in the next video.